All right, well, thank you, Mark, for joining us. Your role as a VFX supervisor is fascinating to me. I love to hear how these scenes and things are created. It,
Yeah, so basically, I spoke to Kirill almost 2 years ago now. It was quite a while ago. We were up against a couple of different studios, and as it is nowadays, you interview with the director and the team. I got the script, and thankfully, this movie was fantastic because Kirill actually had the entire movie storyboarded. So it was like reading a graphic novel, basically. It was fantastic. Um, it was really helpful having a visual, being a visual medium, to be able to see how he envisioned the movie, right? Because you read the script and in your head, you read it one way and envision it one way, but it might not be what the director wants. And obviously, it's his vision at the end of the day of what needs to be on the screen. So the fact that Kirill had the entire movie storyboarded was fantastic. So it really helped us delve into, hey, okay, I understand this part of the script. How are we going to achieve this specific shot? There were quite a few shots where there were real head scratchers. Kirill, the director, loves to keep things in camera. He loves practical effects, which is great for me. I prefer, honestly, I prefer practical effects and visual effects to help tell the story and not take over the story as can happen occasionally. Um, so we kind of broke down a bunch of stuff and we set it out as this is how I think it should be done. And then we had a few calls over Zoom. Oh, excuse me, sorry. We had a few calls over Zoom during the process. We were talking to the heads of department because most of the heads of department were in South Africa. They were locals, and we had to kind of go through a couple of the shots and things we knew were going to happen. And then once I got to South Africa with Kirill, we kind of sat down and the war room had every single storyboard all over the room. It was all around. It was huge. It was a huge amount. And during the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks before we really got going, and we were fine tuning the what should we shoot first, what days do we go onto the stage, when is this location available, etc., etc. We went through and it was me, Kittle, Isaac Bauman, the DP, Carl Hamp, the UPM. And we kind of went through day by day, shot by shot, like, okay, how do we do this? So what is the plan? We've got some ideas here and some ideas there. How do we do this? And in my opinion, it's always better to have something in camera because if Kirill can see what he's shot rather than trying to imagine what we will do later on as a team. It's better for Kirill. It makes him feel a bit more secure. We know what the story is. Um, and we sat there for days and days, me and Kirill and Isaac and Carl, and we went through every single shot. And the big thing about this show, which I really appreciated, was A being brought on very early, and B, Kirill listened. He wasn't trying to dictate everything. No, we shoot it like this. It's like, okay, guys, what are the ideas? And then we'd come up, and it really was a team effort with like, hey, I think stunt should take this. I think prosthetic should do this part, and then we'll go over and we'll do X, Y, and Z. And it was fantastic to have that creativity with Kill as well, and really put some personal stamp onto the show of like, hey, that was my idea, or we thought of this, but this was a better way of doing it. And a lot of the shots were multiple departments, whether it's stunts, SFX, prosthetics, whatever it happened to be. But we pretty much touched quite a few of those shots on the show. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. Yeah, it was a long show. It was a lot of figuring out how to do complex shots. Wasn't just for our benefit, it was what's going to benefit stunts. So, what's best for visual effects might not be best for stunts or might not be best for prosthetics. So it really was, let's design the shots, let's go to the departments, let's say, hey, this is what we're thinking, and there'll be a few tweaks here, a few tweaks there.
well, it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
And I mean, it's so much action to it. And I can't imagine that's easy to create and to make it look good at the same time.
No, it was a lot of planning, and you know it was a big shoot. It was a long shoot, but there was a lot of planning, and they planned it very, very, very well. And it was meticulous. It had to be meticulous. You know, we were out in South Africa. We had limited time on the sound stages. We had to build sets, and we were on location, and availability of the talent. So everything had to kind of be really in line with everything, and that's where the producers really helped us out. Carl Hand and Russell Ackerman was there, and Dan Kagan, and they were really kind of making sure we had everything we needed to make sure that everything ran smoothly. And honestly, I've been doing this for 23 years. The shoot was very, very well executed. It had to be. There was no wiggle room, but it was very, very well executed.
Like pick a scene or part of a scene and tell us how it was done, how it was created?
Well, obviously, the pig scene was our biggest thing, and I'm sure we'll go over that again. But it was funny, like one of the more involved, difficult shots that went round quite a bit, and you wouldn't expect it when it's a very quick shot. But it was the shot where Asia rolls on the floor. She uses a machete to chop the ankle and the arm when he goes to grab the gun. That went round and round and round, and methodology and ideas and setup and how do we do this and should we do this and should we do that. And it was in the end, it ended up being, I think, 6 to 7 plates, separate plates that were all put together to build that one shot. And you wouldn't expect it looking at the shot. It was very quick, but it was multiple plates. It was elements. It was a lot of paint, a lot of rebuild, a lot of just a lot of compositing work as well. Our compositor had a field day with that one. It was a real challenge. But what we did is we shot. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. We shot multiple plates. So we shot clean plates. We shot Zazie on her own. We shot Tall Steve, as we called him, going to grab the gun. We shot the prosthetics when he gets sliced. We shot it clean. We shot it with blood. Um, and then we added in all the elements together. But the problem was obviously is when you're using prosthetics and you're using real life characters, he's trying to match them up in the plate so they fit together. We did that pretty successfully, although there were parts where they fell over because we had to have the real guy fall back over after you reach. So we flip him from real to prosthetic back to real. And it was a challenge to bring everything in and keep it all confined into that one space. But that was a particularly difficult shot. And with the pig, obviously that's the big sequence, and that was prosthetic on set, and we had that obviously for lighting reference, for eye lines, for nobody. The talent doesn't want to look at nothing. They want to see kind of visualize what they're doing. And we shot a lot of that, but the pig evolved so much from shoot to final in post that every single shot, even when the pig wasn't moving and wasn't talking, was all CG because we changed it so much from as the story went on and as Kirill's ideas and our development and the re-editing and the changes, the pig just changed so much from what it started off to what it was. Every single pig you see is a CG pig. It's our CG assets. And I've worked in a lot of the big studios. I've worked at DD and Weta, but I'm so proud of that asset, that pig. I thought what Crafty Apes did and our team at Crafty Apes did was fantastic. I thought that pig asset was just phenomenal. It really was, and I hope it goes past the scrutiny because I think it really deserves the praise for the asset team here at Crafty Apes of how well that pig turned out.
Right, right. And it's the attention to detail is impressive. And I know it's your job or whatever, but I mean, it's real dedication.
Yeah. As soon as I knew I was on, I was chosen as the VFX suit for the show. I was very, very, very excited. I get on with Kirill extremely well. We still talk. I hung out with him in LA a couple of weeks ago because I live in Atlanta, and I was out in LA for some meetings, and me and Kirill just hung out all night and we just chatted. He's a fantastic guy. But after we talked the first time and I knew I'd got the show, the first thing I did was I called around the local farms and actually visited a pig farm with my daughter just to kind of go around and say, hey, okay, this pig's going to talk. It's a talking pig. So straight away, there's that snap. It's going to snap people out of the reality of it. So the idea was the devil's in the details, if you excuse the pun. But I went to a pig farm and I wanted to shoot what a pig does, what are its mannerisms, just a normal pig, the way it sniffs. It's a very weird contraction and of its snout and little things like the fine hairs on its nose. You don't see them in the light when it comes through, but it gives you some specular bounce off the light and the coarse hairs. And pigskin has very deep dimples and the pores are very deep and specific in certain areas. So it was picking up those tiny little details, knowing that if we brought that into the asset, when it's talking, keep it as realistic as possible. It's a talking pig. I mean, we got to keep it. There's a certain, suspension of belief there, but keeping it as real as we could and get the real mannerisms and the little ticks and the little inflections of what a real pig does, and try and keep it as close as possible as we could. And then adding in Kirill's ideas and the concept ideas with the big slice in his face, and the pig's supposed to be dead. It's kept in a freezer, so Kirill wanted to keep the skin tone. He didn't want it oversaturated, so we brought it down and cooled it off and made it a bit grey. We put some bruising on it, some little spots make it older, and that was a real process with Kirill. Kirill being the creative genius he is, we'd go through, we create something, and we'd put it together, and he was very, very good, and he really loved what we were doing. And then as the idea grew and the dialogue of the pig changed, because we changed it a few times during the show of, hey, should he be goofy? Are we playing this as the comedy side, or are we going to play this as the evil pig or the nonchalant pig, or is he going to kind of be the quiet, silent type, or does he give these little one? And it went through a lot of different stages, so the dialogue kind of swapped around a little bit. And as you change the dialogue and as you change kind of the edit of the role the pig plays, because he is a character in his own right, he is a character, you have to change the demeanor and the mannerisms as well. With an animation team, Trey Rowan and Jay Griffin and Paul Zeke and a whole slew of fantastic animators. Every time we got an edit change, we would have to say, okay, we have the mocap of the face, we know what the pig's saying, we have the phonomics, we know. But hey, now he's saying it in a mean way, or hey, now he's saying it in an arrogant way. Oh no, now we need to go to a different demeanor of the pig, and that changes a lot. It's a slight change to the eyebrows, it's a slight change to his eye line, it's a slight change to where the cheeks move, but it's these little things. It's not just the dialogue and it's not just the vocabulary, it's the demeanor and the performance, and that had to change with the dialogue a lot. So I completely forgot your original question. I'm sorry I went off on my little tangent there, but attention to detail, yes, the attention to detail was there 24/7. And Kirill, if it wasn't there, Kirill would say, "Hey, this looks great," and we always knew we had to push it that extra mile for Kirill. And I'm really glad we had it, because some people would just say, "Oh no, that looks great," and leave it. But Kirill wanted perfection, and so do we. We want everybody to be happy, not just the director, not just the studio. We want the audience to be happy, and it's something we want to be proud of at the end of the day. We don't want to send something out that we're just not happy with. And I think being a crafty, for a few years now, we really, really do pay that attention to detail. We really nail down those little things because we want to show what we can do. And I think this show really, really helped our cause with that. And hopefully people see it and they appreciate it, and they can see what we can do.
Right. Yes, of course. And I've had pet pigs, so I know exactly what you're talking about with the little hairs and the spots. And I had two growing up as a pet. Well, I thought they were a pet until my dad made them disappear and come back with a bunch of meat. But I know exactly what you're talking about. And with everything being so physical, it's just I can imagine how hard it was to get everything together. Like there's one scene that struck me in the trailer where there's fire, lots of fire. How was that done? Was that real fire? Is that CGI? What was that?
In the fire axe sequence where she's fighting with the axe. um, so originally, we planned that obviously for health and safety reasons to be an axe with LED lights on, and we tested it and we did some tests. And our effects sim guys are fantastic, and he looked great. Um, Zazie being Zazie, and Zazie is one of the most awesome people I've ever met as far as actresses go. She was like, "Hell no, if I'm doing this for real." So in prep, we Zazie was doing some training with the stunt team, and she was like, "No, I want to do this for real. I want to have this axe on fire. I want to feel the heat. I want to feel the danger." And so she did it practically. That fire on the axe is real, and that's down to Zazie. The people that get hit with the fire axe, they get set on fire. That's all practical. That's all real. We did do some fire here and there on that sequence if we hit, and the take was fantastic, but maybe one of the cultists, it didn't ignite the accelerant or uh, something of that cause, we would help that. Obviously we bring that in. Elements of fire on the table to make sure the table's caught, we added that in, but we shot elements of real fire and peppered that in. um, the embers, all the embers that come up to show the impact, all that we did all that as well. Again, I while we are on set, they gave me 2 days to shoot a bunch of elements. I think I shot 62 elements, and a bunch of them were the fire embers coming up. Is again, Kirill just as much as myself likes things practical, so we shot as much things practical as we could, and then it was down to our awesome our awesome compositing team. And that was Nicole Smith. That was led by Nicole Smith. And I've worked with Nicole before. And as soon as I knew I was getting this show, I requested Nicole be my comp suit because she's fantastic. And, we chatted and I called her and I said, "Hey, we got this shot. I'm going to shoot this, and this. What else do you need?" I always kind of refer back to my supervisors of what she could possibly need, and I'd add that to the list. But yeah, Nicole was our comp soup, and she was just amazing. Her and Olivia Sue as our lead, and they took all those elements, and like I said, that leg chopping scene with the hand, they ran with it. They're like, this is a puzzle, and it was a real puzzle to put together. But again, I think it really smashed it. But as far as the fire goes, that's all practical.
Wow,
Zazie did that because she wanted to do it real.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of practical effects. I would rather see
Yes.
those than any other. But by looking at the trailer, it looked very real. But I was like, yeah, that's dangerous. I wonder if they'd actually do it. And it's wow. Once again, dedication.
Well, the fire was real, but that I think the shot you're speaking about specifically is I think it's the wire that she's up in the air, she smashes the table. Obviously, that was shot in multiple plates. That's not all one shot. Which
Right.
again, our compositors we did, and the fire thankfully was real. I always prefer practical light, whether it's LEDs or real fire. Getting that light cast is a big seller. But specifically those shots, Kirill wanted to shoot in slow motion. So again, it was a multiple plate comp where we shoot clean. We'd shoot Zazie on the line with the axe. We'd shoot the table up in the air, and then special effects would blow it up. And then again, we shot a bunch of elements for shattering balsa wood blocks to give some more debris, some more smoke, and some more dynamic and some more energy to the shot. And again, it was our comp team that put it all together. Multiple four, five plates and several elements were all built in. And those are long shots because it was shot at a higher frame rate as well. I think it was a 120 FPS frame rate. So it's a lot more frames to get obviously the length of shot we wanted. And it's hard to hide anything with no motion blur as well. So again, dedication to our compositing team for that one for really selling it.
Great. It really did. And like I said, I thought I was like, it's got to be practical. And then I'm like, but that's kind of dangerous. And, so I did not know, but I am so glad to hear that a lot of it was practical. So that's
Yes.
great.
Kirill loves
What was about the,
practicality.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Kirill loves practical, and I watched some of his previous movies before joining this one, and I had a few questions like, "How did you shoot this, and how did you shoot that?" Because the same thing, you're always, as somebody who works in the industry, you're always trying to figure out how this was done or how that was done. Oh, this looks great. and trying to like reverse engineer of how they did it. So it's great to talk to somebody like Kirill who loves practical effects, and he's just like, no, no, I did this on my own, and we did this and this and this and this. So yeah, he was a great person to work with as well to get a bit of knowledge out of.
Well, that's always great to hear. What was kind of the most difficult aspect of this job, of making this?
Um, I think it was again the pursuit of just making sure that the end products fit the effort that was put into it. I think it was a long show, and there was some re-edits and there was some small reshoots. There was when the edit changes came, um, some of the changes, although it seemed minimal, was quite a bit more work for us to kind of get through. There were quite a few shots where Kirill wanted a specific look, but we didn't have that shot, and some of the shots were Frankenstein out of 4 or 5 different takes, and it was blending all those kind of takes just to make a plate that would work, and then adding in the CG afterwards. But being with Kirill that long and being friends with Kirill as well, and Kirill's a fantastic guy, and working again with Paramount and Kathy Chase and Hay and Aaliyah Lopez as well, and the support they gave us, you really want to give them that the end product that they put so much faith and in you, and Kirill chose me to shoot his big Hollywood movie. It was that pressure to give him what he wanted, and to make it look as good as I wanted it to look, and trying to the team I had were fantastic, and they put 150% into everything, and it was just keeping that momentum going, and just come on, we need just a bit more of you. There was just a lot to get through, and being self-critical as we have to be, and knowing that this movie was a big thing for Kirill, and it was our chance to really show what we could do at Crafty with the asset and with everything we were doing with it. It was just that pursuit of perfection. It was very, very hard with the amount of shots and the amount of changes and curveballs that came left and right. Yeah, it was. If I didn't have the team I had, I don't know how we would have got it done. I really don't. There was a lot of late nights. There was a lot of conversations, a lot of pep talks, and trying to keep people going. Just to, hello, buddy. um, yeah, it was just a lot, and again, just trying to make everything as good as we possibly could, because it was such a great movie to be part of, and we didn't want to let anybody down, and we didn't want to let the fans down. It was such a great show. Yeah, it was just trying to get those last little things in there, make sure that everything was as good as it could be for everybody involved.
Right, right. And I think y'all did an amazing job.
Thank you.
I mean, it looks good and it's so badass. I mean, a lot of work went into it, but it's fantastic. And um, I just have one more question for you. If you had to describe this film in 4 words, what would they be?
4 words.
Words.
Absolute insanity ensures throughout.
That works. That works. Well, I thank you so very much for your time. And I
Thank you.
can't wait till, everybody sees this movie because they're going to love it.
I hope so, and I really hope they enjoy it. It was a whirlwind. It was an amazing adventure, and I hope for everybody involved that people enjoy it. It's just a great movie.